Hello,
Hello, sir.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Uh, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hi, sir. How are you?
Very well, very well. And you?
I'm also good, sir.
Okay, let's get
We are just
started.
waiting for Malini. I'm just waiting for Malini ma'am to join. I have sent her request. So just
Okay,
can we wait for 2 minutes to begin?
absolutely. Until then, we can talk until, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So tell me a little about Lambda.
So Lambda is a gender and sexuality club of IIT Guwahati. So, as if you would like to know about like this origin of the term, so Lambda basically signifies the wavelength. So when a single white light falls on a surface and then it refracts back, so the spectrum is mostly the rainbow, which signifies LGBTQ community. So from there, this term came.
Ah, that is so witty. I like it. That's very
Thank you,
nice. I
sir.
love it. It's amazing.
Thank you
We
so
have
much.
more and more people joining us now.
Yes, I have also sent request to Malini ma'am, just waiting for her to join, so
And I
we
have
can
a
begin
I
with.
have a question for you. Are we keeping this are we keeping it English? Are we keeping it in English or Hindi? How are we doing it?
Any language you are comfortable, sir. We are fine in both language.
Okay,
Although
you should say that either of the languages because I was going to start speaking Punjabi.
all right, sir. I think either of the language would do, sir.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Is Malini there?
So I don't think so. I'm sending her invite again. So I'll just
Okay.
wait for 2 more minutes, then we will
No
begin with.
problem.
So, sir, are you in India right now?
I am in India. I am leaving in 3 days' time to go back to Canada. Yeah.
So currently you're settled in Canada.
Yes, I don't know if I can say some settled, but yes, I have a house in Canada. I spend my life between India and Canada. So half of the year I'm in India, half of the year I'm in Canada, that way.
All right, sir.
Because India has a lot more work to be done as well when it comes to LGBT rights, inclusion,
Yes,
diversity, and whatnot. Yeah.
yes, sir. So I think till the time ma'am joins, I think we can begin. Uh, because
Okay.
I'm
Yes.
sending her. I couldn't see her joining. So people are saying hi to you, sir.
Hello. Hello.
So till the time ma'am joins, so I think we should begin. So
Yes, absolutely.
just so we have Deepak sir for today's live session on Lambda. So just to mention a few words, of course I know the word will fall short to describe him, but
Oh God.
yes, just to mention a few. Sir is a mental health counselor, and he is a mental health and a life skill trainer with extensive experience in corporate wellness and diversity and inclusion initiative. He provides emotional and mental health services in person and online for over 10 years. He holds a master degree in psychology of education from University of Bristol, UK. He has been formally trained in advanced programs in REBT and cognitive behavioral therapy from Albert Ellis Institute in New York and attended the MBCT summer school program at Oxford Mindfulness Centre at University of Oxford, England. He has also conducted workshops in India, Dubai, US, UK, Europe, Canada on various emotional well-being projects. His corporate expertise lies in developing and delivering programs for organizing mental health initiatives, anti-racism and anti-oppression frameworks, diversity and inclusion training, and LGBTQ plus leadership and right activism. Although these are just a few description of the sir, I am pretty sure he must be doing several other activities for the
Thank you
rights
so
of
much. You're
LGBT
very, very
communities as well.
kind. Thank you. That's very, very kind. So let's begin by trying to understand why inclusion of LGBT students is very, very important in educational institutes. See, what happens is that we forget that more than 10% of the population, and today more than 20% of the population identifies as some or the other kind of queer person. Whether it's lesbian, whether it's gay, whether it's transgender, whether it's bisexual, whether it's genderqueer, whatever the term that you want to use. And we are not here to define the terms today. But what we are here to say is that not everyone is straight.
Yes.
Right? And even straight people are not exactly same. They're not identical to each other. Right? There have always been and always will be sexual and sexuality differences amongst us all. Right?
Yes.
Now what happens is you could talk about like, hey, but straight people are not bringing their sexuality to school. Why are you bringing it? I was like, no. Straight students always bring their sexuality to school, whether you like it or not. Even just a casual remark like, oh, my girlfriend did this and my boyfriend did that. We are at a stage of our lives where we are the most sexual. And it's not just in sexual acts that I'm talking about, in sexual development, in sexual expectations, in romantic understanding of life, in romantic relationships, in just understanding who I am as a sexual being. And India is famous for not having sex education. We've decided that, listen, we have too many people, we'll talk to each other and somehow we'll figure it out, right? And yes, a lot of our sex education then comes down to either porn or to our stupid cousin, right? Who probably, a stupid cousin or ignorant friends who probably do not know as much about sex as like we do,
yes,
right? So what ends up happening is that when we are coming at a stage, at an age when we are trying to understand each other, where I am developing a sense of who I am, but I see no help, I see no support, I see no representation of who I am. All I see is, you know, pageants, well, homecoming king and homecoming queen, and you have your national annual days in which you award some people for fashion shows. And basically, the environment is geared towards straight people. Right? So we have very little understanding, very little representation, and very little support for queer people. And that's when you start seeing queer students start either performing really bad at scores in marks, or they start getting depressed, or they develop a lot of trouble. Or if they're doing really well, that doesn't mean their mental health is good. Okay? But before we go any further, I want to acknowledge that all students, whether you're queer or not, have troubles. Okay? It's not like, yes, oh, troubles are only with queer people, but right now it's Pride Month, we're talking about queer people. Okay? We're talking about queer students. So what we are saying is the LGBTQ students have a different level and a different kind of trouble. We're not saying you don't have trouble. Tera nahi hai, mera hi hai. We're not doing that. We're saying that yes, you have it and I have it too. I have to understand your problems and you have to understand my problems. But because the society is largely geared towards supporting you and your desires and your body and your understanding of who you are, I get left behind.
Yes, sir.
So that's one of the reasons, one of the main reasons why LGBT students need to be included, supported, recognized, and represented at schools.
Yes, sir.
When I was growing up, I just needed one or two teachers to look at me and say, it's okay to be feminine. It's okay to be a masculine girl. It's okay to be a feminine boy. It's okay to be anybody that you are at the moment.
Yes.
Right? A lot of the times what happens is that people, when we're growing up, we have a lot of questions about ourselves and there's nobody to answer them. And that's where the critical role of teachers come in. That's where the critical role of the school administration, the school people come in. That whichever school or college you're in, if you're able to let people look at you and say, hey, I understand that you are going through what you're going through, and I'm sorry. And you know what? You are good the way you are. I still remember I had 2 teachers in my school. You know, they looked at me and they made it so safe for me. They made it so safe for me to come out. They made it so wonderful and protective environment for me to come out. It was just the kindest thing that they did. And I still remember them for that. I don't remember sine, cos, theta, and I don't remember patti, patani, patanti. What I remember is how my teachers made me feel.
Right, sir.
A lot of the times, I think we think that the first job of the teacher is to teach. And yes, it's in the name.
Yes.
But
Yes.
also amongst the first few jobs of the teacher, while it is to teach, is also to make the students feel safe. It's also to make the students feel brave. Brave in the face of ideas that challenge them. Not safe like the American universities of trigger warnings and, oh my God, we need pet therapy and oh my God. I'm not trying for that. We do not want the American level of coddling. No. Because it will not work in India if you're going to coddle the students that much. And they go out in the Indian society, they'll be like, hey, kya chalna hai? They'll say, oh, what do you need? What do you want me to like cuddle you? It's not going to work in India.
Yes.
We are a very, very rough and violent society. We fight over 10 rupees with each other. We've killed people. It's not like Americans haven't done that. But on an average, violence gets normalized in our country to a very different level. Parents beat us up, our relatives beat us up, our teachers can beat us, our teachers can say all sorts of nasty things. So violence has been verbal violence, physical violence is normalized. Even yesterday, I saw a report of a woman from Jaipur. She tied her 8-year-old daughter with belts and put her in the scorching sun because she didn't finish her homework.
Really?
Yeah, and the video, the neighbor took the video and the girl is screaming and screeching because it's so hot. It's 42 degrees in Jaipur today.
So what we see earlier, it was like things were taken, was not taken so seriously, but now I feel is like violence, discrimination, like they have set different norms for all this altogether.
Yeah, exactly. If I don't agree with your religion, I'm going to attack you. If I don't agree with your ideas, I'm attack you. If I don't like your sexuality, I will attack. We came from that area where we used to just let be. You know, humle, yes, say hai, isko chhod do. That was the philosophy. The philosophy
now it's
was,
like if you only follow the norms, either be in the community or leave the community.
Correct. पहले नॉर्म्स ये था कि ये नहीं उनकी जात में होता है हमारे यहाँ नहीं होता है इट्स ओके दे आर ओके वी आर ओके वो भी ठीक नहीं था लेकिन वो वायलेंट नहीं था it wasn't a melting pot, it was a secluded, it was a salad bowl. We did not melt with each other.
Yes.
Right. So the idea of purity was very, very important. That nahi hamare yahan aisa nahi hota, unke yahan hota hai, and that's okay. Muslims are different than Hindus, are different than Sikhs, are different than Christians. But now everyone has to be a certain way.
Yes.
So what I'm trying for us to understand is that...
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. There is somebody who has joined the live is texting that he's 30 years old and he's also facing this and he don't have guts to come in front and he knows that his family will not accept.
It's okay if you don't have, as you're saying, the confidence to come out right now. Just develop the confidence to accept yourself. And don't get married.
Sudhir Jairam is saying that... Yeah, please continue, sir.
No, just that. If you do not, I understand that sometimes coming out can be very, very, very nerve-wracking. But just accept yourself first. You don't have to wait for others to accept you.
self-acceptance is the first step.
Yeah.
Unless and until we accept ourselves, we won't expect others to accept ourselves.
I mean,
There is
you
also
can do all
a
sorts of
person,
things. Yeah.
Sudhir Jairam, who is saying that is also because of colonialism.
Sure, we can. I mean, yes, in part you're right, but Indians have to really come out of this mentality of like, हमारा सारा problem अंग्रेजों और मुगलों की वजह से है. अच्छा, मतलब हमारा खुद का कुछ नहीं है. वर्ल्ड वॉर टू में कुछ ऐसी सिटीज थी, कंट्रीज थी जो पूरी तबाह हो गई. वर्ल्ड वॉर 2 में इंडिया की लैंड पे कुत्ता भी नहीं मरा था. इंडियन सोल्जर्स मरे थे, लेकिन वो कंट्रीज बन के आगे निकल गई. लुक एट जापान, लुक एट, एंड आई अंडरस्टैंड हमारा, वी ऑलवेज हैव दिस वन, वी हैव 3 एक्सक्यूजेस. वी, हमारे पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज्यादा है, मुगल्स डिड दिस एंड अंग्रेज डिड दैट. हम लाइक ठीक है, अंग्रेजों ने 377 बनाया था 1860 में, उन्होंने हटा दिया ना. तुम काय को रख के बैठे थे? Now they've moved forward. Why are you there? You're choosing to be there, right?
Yes.
So there's an element of choice and there's an element of responsibility that gets taken out completely when you start blaming everyone and everything else other than your own understanding of life. The moment you say, I am where I am because of my past, correct. But I am also where I am because of the way I think and the way I choose to act as well. It's not either or, it's both. Yes, colonialism did bring things to India that were not all positive. Yes, I mean, आप एक ऐसा शहर बता दो जहां पर ब्रिटिश राज था और वो डेवलप नहीं है आज. I'm not praising colonialism. I'm not. It was a horrible thing and it should not have happened. But it also gave us the 3 biggest cities we have in the country. Bombay, Chennai, and Kolkata. They didn't exist before the British came. So the railway, I can go on and on, but I can also go on and on about how many people they killed, how many people died, and how many people. I do not want to disrespect any nationalist movement, nationalist leaders, but what I want to say is like, हो गया यार, 70 साल 70 साल से ज्यादा हो गए उनको गए हुए. 1-2 जनरेशन निकल जाती हैं इसमें.
They made the law, they left, but the law is still remaining. Nobody is scrapping it.
उनके यहाँ तो गे मैरिज आ गया, उनके यहाँ इंक्लूजन हो गया, उनके यहाँ सब ठीक है. अभी if you want to, then learn from them, no?
Yes. If they
so the idea
if they got in the law, they removed it also.
Yeah, and I don't want to be facetious and I don't want to be dismissive of our national struggle. I don't. My grandfather fought, no, not my grandfather, my great-grandfather fought in the World War II. He was part of the nationalist movement and blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But arguments का stamp होता है, time stamp होता है arguments के ऊपर.
Yes.
Ideas पुराने नए नहीं होते हैं, western eastern नहीं होता. Ideas right or wrong होते हैं.
Yes.
Do we have any more questions?
Sir, no, yeah, sure. We were just waiting for you to hear you. I mean, I just thought like once you finish. So what if we talk about education institutions? So I think there are a lot of people who are willing to come out. So sir, what would you suggest to them? Like if
they're not
like
ready,
how they should
they're ready or they're not ready.
That's good. Like what I feel is many a times people want to, but they are skeptical of the challenges they might come across. So
yeah, and when you're trying to come out as a student, first of all,
yes,
make sure that you have done your study, you've done your homework. You will never come to a point and you'll say, I know everything about me, there's nothing left for, no. You largely know you're gay or you're bisexual or you're lesbian or you're trans or whatever your identity is gravitating towards. whichever concept or whichever experience your identity is gravitating towards. So first of all, learn about that, read about it, watch videos about it. We're living in the age of information. Okay,
Yes.
YouTube will give you everything you need to know. YouTube will also give you things you do not need to know, right? So be careful of what you consume at YouTube, right? So,
Sure.
so first of all, learn about yourself. Second, create a social support system of other queer people or people who are supportive, who are allies, right?
Yes.
The third thing that you do is you start coming out to people you trust. Dheere, 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 dheere. And if you have a very good relationship with your parents, that's when you come out. But please know that coming out in and of itself is not the greatest value in life. It's amazing to come out. It's amazing to be out. But if you think that you are at a situation where coming out is actually going to hinder your progress, hinder your studies, that's when you need to probably talk to a counselor. Sometimes it can get too much. Sometimes it can get too much. You know, studies है, पढ़ना है, teacher है, उसके ऊपर से 2 बार टूटा हुआ दिल है मेरा, and this, that, and the other. So it's just, it can get too much, right? So,
like,
बोलो, go on.
So, जैसे, sir, like the way we see, of course, we all deal with certain sort of stress in our lives. Along with that, this people of this minority stress, people also have some minority stress. So, like, how do we counter them, or how do we deal with this in our day-to-day lives? If you can shed some light on to it.
How do you deal with stress? Is you first of all recognize that not all stress is bad.
Yes, not all stress, but when we talk of minority stress, so it's mostly experiential, is what I believe. It's,
right.
Again, it varies.
Always start
from
with the understanding that. Always start with the understanding. I am who I am, and others are who they are and what they think. Right. So
okay.
I don't have to change, and I don't have to change them right now. Stress begins to build up and becomes paralyzing when you say, I want to change the world. I want to change the world in my lifetime and right now.
Right.
Start with smaller, littler understanding of change. Hey, I'm going to start with small circles. Minority stresses are very difficult to handle because minority ka matlab ye hai ki I don't feel like I belong. I'm of a tinier part of the. But then make bubbles. That's what India is famous for. We all live in our bubbles. We all live in our bubbles. Right? There are people in India who just speak English. They've never spoken Hindi. They live in South Bombay. They come to North Bombay only to catch a flight. So what happens is that you have to understand that you can create your bubble. India gives you freedom to create bubbles. I'm not recommending bubbles. I'm saying there's an option for us to create bubbles. Become part
there is of unfilled and accepted space.
Right. Create spaces for yourself. And realize you're not here to fight, you're here to work with everyone.
Yes.
Right? Other ways of dealing with minority stresses is to realize that it's part of life. I'm always going to be a minority of one kind or the other. Right? Like say, for example, even if I'm gay, I am not minority in other parts of my identity. I'm a cis male. I'm a cisgender male person. So I'm not a minority.
Yes.
I'm minority when it comes to cis male gay men. So we all play different roles. We're never fully the minority. We're never fully the majority. So get out of this this like, oh my God, I am this. This is the personal way of dealing with it. I mean, this is not a political way of dealing with it. Politically, you have to do some drama and you know, hamare haq. You have to do that. That's important. You have to fight with the administration, whether it's school administration or something. But personal level, you have to understand, I'm a human being. I'm neither minority nor the majority. But जो भी मेरे स्ट्रेसर्स हैं, मुझे ये याद रखना है कि वो केवल मेरी वजह से नहीं है, वो बेवकूफ समाज की वजह से भी है.
Sir, let's say like we say that we of course we deal with a lot of things in our day-to-day life. We deal with academics, we deal with our personal life, we deal with our family, and a lot of other stuff. So, like, how do this identity, as you say, like for the time I am gay, and at the other time I'm cis male, at the third time I'm simply human. Then there is I'm somebody. I'm a partner. So, how do we like negotiate or deal with this identity? This different.
Never lose sight of the first identity that you share with everyone, which is you being human.
Okay.
Everything else is accidental. I mean, being human is accidental too. You could have been a cat. You could have been a dog. But even that, but that is the one thing that, find things that connect you with others first. Minority stress is because I feel I don't connect. I'm not in power.
Yes.
Okay, so that, let's take one more question because we've very little time now. Let's take one more question.
So there is one person who is saying, I had gone to one psychiatrist. He suggested me for conversion therapy, but his behavior was so rude. That's why I stopped attending his session.
Oh my God, I mean, please report him to MCI. Please report him to the Medical Council of India. Medical Council of India is very clear that homosexuality is not a disease, it's not a disorder, and it does not need to be treated.
So sorry, but we have just one more question. I'm really sorry.
No,
there is a person who is saying, I'm a biological male. Whenever I watch FTM porn, so I feel like I also need a vagina. Why so?
I mean, if that's a fantasy, it could be two things. It could be related to sexual fantasies, or it could also be a desire for body transformation. So this is something that you need to pick up with a counselor and have a say. I mean, there are times when we imagine ourselves to be all sorts of different things when we're having sex. Some people like to think of themselves as babies. Some people like to think of themselves as of the other gender or other sex. Some people like to, it's also, sexuality is really a really vast subject, right? So, yeah. So it's not like getting therapy for lighter skin. Yeah, we don't have to get therapy for lighter skin, but you have to get therapy for the desire for a lighter skin, probably. Which counselor I should go with? I don't know if I can recommend a counselor here, but there are a couple. I'm going to leave. Can do. Okay, so I've put my email there if you want to email me, and then we can take it from there. It was really lovely talking to you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Same to you, sir. I wish this we could have stretched this time to a little bit. I mean, we don't feel like disconnecting, and I think there are a lot of queries that are still there. But I think, the time is barrier right now.
Next time.
Sure. We love to hear you, and we hope for more. We could get a chance to hear you more.
Absolutely.
In upcoming time.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Thank you.
No problem. Bye-bye.
It was so nice to have you. Thank you, sir. Bye.